I've thoroughly enjoyed the Hellboy series of books. Of course, the main titles that Mike Mignola did himself, and then, of course, some of the spin-offs. I've got a lot to catch up on when it comes to the BRP series, the BRPD, you know, Bureau for Paranormal Research and Development. There you go. Boy, really tired. Just got off work. But anyway, it just... there's a simplicity to the art and a complexity at the same time. There's easily some of the greatest atmospherics and mood achieved with a rather relatable comical hero who shouldn't be. But it was a great run. It's still going on. He's doing a lot of stories about Hellboy, but they're set in the past and that sort of thing. But the actual ultimate outcome of Hellboy is done. And, well, I won't spoil it for you, but, yeah, that's pretty much complete. But it expanded. It has this Hellboy universe, if you will. And all kinds of cool stuff like that. And, inevitably, there, of course, have been 3 films. The first 2 I really enjoyed a lot. It's certainly, there are 2 films that are inspired by Hellboy, but there's a lot about, the Hellboy comics that's not quite there in the film. It's its own version of it, and I'm kind of wondering if it may not really be possible to completely adapt it to evoke that sense and a mood that the comic book achieves. And so what the films, they went about it their own way and sort of created their own take on that. And it was enjoyable, and it goes off on its own tangent. There's some elements and reference to the original series. There's the romance between Hellboy and Liz. That's not a part of the comic book and all of that. But it worked, and it was a good cast. Ron Perlman, yeah, I know. just separate the art from the artist. That's all. You got to keep doing that. But he did a good job in the role. And unfortunately, just a series of events here and there. The 2 movies obviously need a third part to make a full trilogy and complete the story that they were developing there. And so the second one really does end on quite the cliffhanger, and it's sad. And so a deal, for whatever reason, couldn't be worked out between Guillermo del Toro and the studios and whatnot. I don't know what all was the deal. Maybe he wanted too much money. He wanted to make an epic finale. And maybe that was the deal. I don't know. At one point, Ron was tired of it, but then again, he seemed like he was on board, and they were talking to each other, and so I don't think that was a problem. But it fell apart, and they decided to go ahead with the character. And I understand that they intended to go ahead and try to do a third movie that with a new cast, but to follow that story and what was set down, which, considering how it turned out, maybe it's for the best that they didn't. So what they do is basically a reboot. And it's odd because I thought, well, maybe they should have done what the comics are doing now, where it's stories of Hellboy in his younger days. This is a younger version of the Hellboy. You saw he has more hair, more hair than even the comic book ever did. I don't know that the Hellboy ever had a full head of hair, but anyway, with David Harbour playing the role. Now, David Harbour, yes, another guy that you just really have to separate the art from the art. And he's done good work, you know, and I think he probably could have made a pretty good Hellboy, but this is what he got. And so with that in mind, it's probably not fair to judge him too harshly, or any of the cast for that matter. Mila Jovovich, who of course I just adore and love. So, see, I went through all her Resident Evil movies, and she's the best part of all of them. You know, that's the reason. And she does all right here. She does, but it's just not very good. It doesn't come together very well. It starts off kind of cool. It tries to set the tone for the creepiness and mood of a Hellboy world and all of that, but it's going over material the other films already did and that sort of thing. Had they just set it up as an investigation and adventure that Hellboy had to do, rather than the overall thing about him being the beast of the apocalypse and all that, it might have been a better go at it. There was a lot of complaints about the CGI in the movie, and while I was watching it, I thought, well, you know, and of course I'm an easy sell on a lot of that. So a lot of times I'll say, yeah, it's not that great, but I don't mind it as much. And for some scenes, like the big fight between Hellboy and the Giants and all that stuff, I didn't think it was that bad. And then all of a sudden, oh, yeah, looks like you didn't finish it there or something. I don't know. And then the final battle, the big climactic battle at the end. Oh God, it's pretty bad. So there was something going in it with the guy who turns into a werecat. He's based on a character from the comic. It was originally what's his name? I'm forgetting all the names. But it was this white guy cast in the role, and all of a sudden, oh, it's racist because the character was Asian in the comic book. So they quickly swapped him out with an Asian actor, the guy who I'm forgetting his name, but he was in Lost and all that sort of stuff. And made a big deal about it like it was some grand moment or achievement or what have you. Yet the female character, which is based, this is more closely based in a lot of ways on actual Hellboy story. The character of Alice, and well, they race swapped her, and that's okay. And of course, she's nothing like the character. She's badass and all this sort of stuff. So the same old template, rinse, lather, repeat. Nothing against the actress. I wasn't all that impressed with her, but then again, this is the material she had to work with, so I don't know. So it starts off interesting and cool and haunting, and there's King Arthur, and that plays a role like the comic books as well, and Merlin and all of this. And it's just like there's a scene where they find Merlin later, and it's like, couldn't somebody have done that before? I mean, one of the witches knew about it, and I don't know. It just kind of falls apart. Hellboy, and it's running over old material and his daddy issues, which again was never part of the comic book. But they thought, oh, this is an interesting thing, and the comic book just didn't pursue that. And later on, some of the like prequel stories, if you will, where he has a relationship with the professor and all that. But, it's too bad because it bombed, and it bombed hard. And I think that's it for Hellboy. Maybe there'll be some more animated series and stuff like that, which might be the better way to go for trying to capture the essence of that comic book series. But I just wish there had been the completion of the original film series, a good trilogy, and wrapped it up for whatever Guillermo wanted to do, and that would have been a nice finale to it. But now it's just sort of this unfinished stuff and this kind of lackluster slap job of a movie. It's too bad. There were some interesting elements that you would like. Lobster Johnson shows up. But they play it off as silly. Lobster Johnson is his eerie, ghostly character. Spoilers, he's a ghost in modern times anyway. Back in the 30s, he was alive. But and they play on it, but they don't do it well, and it's unfortunate. So it's kind of reminded me of the Spider-Man films that followed the Sam Raimi films. And it's like, well, you're immediately redoing the stuff you already did, only not as good. It's kind of watered down or something, you know. So it's just rather sad, and I wish it hadn't happened. But as it was developing and ramping up, gee, why didn't I see it at the time? Because I could already tell it wasn't any good, and it bombed so bad. And I was seeing stuff about it, and I was like, oh, I don't know. And I'll get around to it one day. Well, I finally did, and yeah, they were all right. It's not very good, and it's unfortunate. I remember Mila Jovovich was upset that people were trashing it. We worked really hard. And, yeah, Mila, I'm sure you did, but it's got to be good. And yeah, it wasn't. I remember hearing saying this is more closely to what Mike Mignola's vision was, and is it? It doesn't look like it. So. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in it. You pour over it. Oh, there's a nod to this and that and stuff from the comic book series and all that. But it just doesn't come together. And I guess there just won't be a Hellboy movie anytime soon. Because I don't know if people say, well, there's no point in that. Why put the money in that? You know, I don't think it's a valuable property, you know. So that's unfortunate. because Hellboy comics are very cool. And I do recommend those. They're all collected and stuff at Dark Horse, so you can head over there and delve into that. But I guess for the live-action film version of it, I guess that's dead in the water for now. I don't know. Maybe someone will try to do a series or something down the road. But this one pretty much put the nail in the coffin. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness. So many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.